Some of you may be watching this during the festive period, heck, even on Christmas Day, but that doesn't mean that our work here should be paused. We are still very much in the business of exposing things in the plant industry 247. Absolutely no breaks. That being said, today I have another shocking expose in my green book of exposés. I'm going to be talking about plants that there is no shortage of care information out there for them online. But 90% of the information out there is, what's that term? Garbage, if you know what I mean. And this might ultimately explain why some of y'all are actually struggling with these plans despite your best efforts. Well, darlings, consider this your Christmas present because I'm here to set you free from the bondage so you can take care of them better, especially in the coming year. Oh, Jesus. Without much ado, grab a cup of coffee, grab something, grab someone. You are definitely going to need to clutch onto your pearls and perhaps even your purse for this one. Let's get to the nitty gritty. The first one, and I've actually made a whole video, I dedicated a whole video to free, especially my Western girlies, from the bondage of misinformation when it comes to taking care of this one plant. I'm talking about snake plants, my love. Snake plants, because many bring this plant into their home and they honestly subject it to maltreatment, thinking that they are taking care of these guys. Snake plants, first things first, let's get it out of the way. Snake plants are not low light plants, they are low light tolerant plants. The difference between those two things is as wide as the night and day. If a plant is a low light plant, it doesn't necessarily mind low light conditions. It might push out even one or two leaves in that low light state. Example is this your golden pothos. However, if a plant is low light tolerant, it is just essentially slowly dying. It's taking its sweet time before it eventually gives up the ghost, and that is often the case for snake plants. You get that snake plant thinking, okay, it's a low light plant, I'm just gonna dump it in that very dark living room, that dark bathroom. Trust me, darlings, in the next 3 to 5 months, you're walking there, the plant suddenly gives up the ghost. So let's get that out of the way. This is not a low light plant, but a low light tolerant plant. Another information that was flying around the internet, in fact, it was considered the gold standard when it comes to watering these plants back then. I don't know if that is the case now. Either way, it is absolutely wrong. Watering these plants when they are bone dry. Some will even go as far as saying water them when they start to wilt, when their leaves start to wilt. Jesus Christ of the living Nazareth. Don't do that. I had a video, like I said, where I literally go into depth and expose this snake plant lies. I'm going to link it, okay, in my description. But I want to tell you that if you keep watching your snake plants that way, it's never going to grow. And one day you're just going to wake up to a plant that has turned into mush. You are traumatizing that plant by subjecting it to extreme drought and then water it afterwards. In my experience, bear in mind, I happen to live where these plants are native to. Okay, in my experience, they actually love to stay moist. They do. They do. I'm not saying you should keep your snake plant moist. You that you're watching this in Canada, no, please. I'm saying just water when it has dried and don't leave it to stay dry for too long. Give that girl bright light, especially if you want your snake plant to grow and thrive. And honestly, if you do those two things concurrently, you're going to be blessed with a lush, thriving snake plant specimen. Okay, now it is okay to use a snake plant as a decorative plant. They make excellent decorative plants. You're not really invested in their growth, you just want to use them to fill up that dark corner. You can do that, but bear in mind that that plant is eventually going to die. Just bear that in mind, okay? Yeah. We're starting off strong. I thought you were going to need to clutch your pearls and your purse and your wig. The next one, oh Jesus, and this one pains me so much because honestly, this plant has bad PR and has a reputation for being, the entire genus actually has a reputation for being difficult, when actually she's just a victim of misinformation. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about the Calathea family. The Calathea girls. The biggest lie out there about this plant is that, or this entire genus, is that they are low light tolerant. I don't know who spread those lies. I don't know what influencer started that lie, but it has caught on, and a lot of people are under the impression that Calatheas are low light tolerant. Darlings, that's a massive lie. And you better sit down and believe what I say, because I happen to be a Calathea icon. Have you not seen my Calatheas? Have you not seen how spectacular they look like? Should I tell you what they all have in common? I am growing them in bright light. Bright light. Some of them are even exposed occasionally to the harsh Nigerian sun. They love it. Bright light. These are not low light plants. Once you remove that mentality from your mind that, oh my goodness gracious, this is a Calathea, let me keep it in this low light corner. You remove that demonic mentality from your mind and you start placing these guys next to a window, right underneath a grow light, in a brightly lit shaded corner. I'm not saying you should throw them in full Texas sun. No. In a brightly lit corner, not that dark and dingy bathroom. Oh, Kariba. 90% of your Calathea problems will honestly just stop. I'm making an in-depth Calathea care video. I have made one before, but I've learned so much more now. I'm going to make an updated one for you all. So subscribe to this channel. You don't miss out. But yes, the biggest lie out there about these plants on the internet is that they are low light plants. I want to tell you that is not the case. Start giving these girlies bright light and watch out for that video coming up soon. Thank you. This is another genus that they all need to collectively come together and sue humanity, including myself, because I've come out here to bastardize this genus. I've come out here to tell you guys, oh my god, never again. I mean, we all like to jump on this trend and bastardize them, but we have honestly been wrong and they deserve better. I'm talking about Alocasias. So I'm going to tell you here that when it comes to Alocasia care, honestly, it is not a one-size-fits-all. That is one thing I have come to realize, and I've had to relearn and unlearn. By this, I mean there are certain Alocasias that do not like bright light. I know the consensus now out there is that give all your Alocasias bright light, but no, absolutely not. There are certain Alocasias like the jewel Alocasias that do not like bright light. If given bright light, they would just look miserable. The consensus out there is that you should always keep your Calatheas perpetually dry. There are certain Alocasias that do not want that. They want to be watered when they have dried. So much so that I even grow some of them in a terracotta pot. Like, if somebody had told me this maybe like 2 years ago that you should grow an Alocasia in a terracotta pot, I would have said they were absolutely insane. But I've realized some actually prefer it because they prefer to dry out and then you water them immediately. Okay, not to be subjected to drought. There's that fine line. So when it comes to Alocasias, I'm just gonna say the rule of thumb is the thicker the leaves, the thicker the stems or the petiole, the less you should water that plant. Okay, and then secondly, just observe your Alocasia and let it teach you. If you are growing that Alocasia in bright light and you're keeping it moist, like you are reading everywhere on the internet, and it is still misbehaving, darlings, then you should do the opposite. That might be an Alocasia that wants you to do the opposite. So that is one thing I've come to learn with Alocasias, that honestly speaking, it is not a one size fits all, and you just have to observe accordingly and then adjust accordingly. Okay, a lot of the information out there on the internet just sweeps them all under the same blanket, and that doesn't work for Alocasias. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying this video and I hope you are finding it entertaining. If you are, like and share and subscribe. Very important, subscribe. You also want to check out my YouTube membership girlies. I'm preparing like a holiday vlog for y'all, because honestly I'm going to be spending Christmas fat. What? 37 and alone. and I'm gonna be capturing that for you guys. So do check that out if you're interested in that type of content and more behind the scenes content on this channel. Yeah, let's proceed with the next one. The next one is, I think, similar to Alocasia's, Peperomia. Peperomia, the entire genus. Honestly, I think the care information out there is outdated and inaccurate. And that's largely because a lot of us think they are cutie potatoes, but this plant has broken our hearts. This genus has broken our hearts, and we've moved on to the point that people don't even make content about them anymore. But I will say, with peperomias, one thing I've observed is that these guys are actually succulents. Yo, they are tropical succulents. I think we have the impression that succulents only originate from like the desert and arid regions of the world, even in the tropics, because we do have an extensive dry season in the tropics. In Nigeria, for example, we have 6 months of the dry season, followed by 6 months of crazy rainy season, which explains why your snake plant is native to this part of the world and it is a succulent. So just like the snake plant, the peperomia, that's a tropical succulent. Have you noticed that most of them have, these succulent leaves, and that's because they're native to parts of the world that, they have quite a lengthy dry season for more than 1 or 2 months. So I've observed the few peperomias, I don't have a lot, the few peperomias I have in my care, I have learned that they like to dry out. Okay? Don't keep them moist. Water when they've dried ensures that the soil you have them in dries out really fast. Water when dry, and that seems to do the trick for the few peperomias that I have. Okay, the information out there back then was to just keep them moist, tropical conditions, blah 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 blah. But I think you're better off treating these guys as succulents. I'm not saying you should blast them with full sun. A lot of them don't even like a lot of bright light. The thicker the leaves, the more succulent the leaves, the more you should perhaps hold back on watering. Honestly, that has worked for me for the few that I have. But let me know your thoughts so far. I haven't asked you this. I'm so sorry. Over to you guys. Let me know your thoughts so far. Is all of what I'm saying making sense? Also, let me know your experience with any one of these plants I've mentioned as well. And yeah, just let's gist in the comments. Now, this last one, honestly, I wanted to make it 5 because I didn't want to make this video long. It's the holiday season. I'm sure you guys barely have time to watch my videos. But this last one, I was thinking, what should I include? But I settled on one plant that she's iconic. But honestly, she oftentimes looks like a hot mess in many people's collection. Darlings, I'm talking about the Monstera deliciosa. The Monstera deliciosa. And I have made an entire video about this, giving you multiple reasons in that video why this plant, you probably should skip it. And you might want to approach it more intentionally. It is an easy plant, but the biggest issue is how it is sold, especially for my Western girlies, and I'll go into more in depth in that video. Look, I'm not going to repeat that information. Go and watch that video. Binge on my videos this Christmas period and leading to the new year. Go and watch that video. But the way it is sold, especially for the girlies in the West, the way they sell that plant to y'all just sets it up for failure. Secondly, the way this plant grows, honestly, the misconception that a lot of people have out there is that it doesn't need a lot of light, which in a way is true but also false. It doesn't need a heck ton of light, but the direction of the light ultimately will determine whether this plant looks put together or looks like a fugly mess. And this is information that you don't find on the internet. Yeah, so that plant has been included on this list. And for more details, because I don't like to repeat myself, I would advise you check that video out. It will be linked in the description. But anyways, darlings, we have come to the end of this video. I promise to keep it short and sweet. And if you happen to watch this during Christmas, have a Merry Christmas. I don't really celebrate Christmas. I don't, even though I'm a Christian. I'm going to discuss more about that in my membership, which you should join. But if you do have a Merry Christmas, and you're gonna see more of me in the coming weeks. So this is not our last video for the year, but till then, see you in the comment section and in the next video. Let me know your thoughts below.